This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide, and we talk some Celtics here. We've talked about them every week, and no matter who's sitting in that guest chair, we're always thinking they're going to start going on a roll. They're going to rebound from their loss. They're going to do something, put something together, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. We all said, let's give it till Christmas. Then they get a big win on Christmas Day, an overtime win, and you could say maybe it should have been better. Maybe they blew the lead, whatever. They got the win on Christmas. They look like maybe they'll start rolling. Kyrie Irving has had a great season. They just can't get back on track. What do they need to do? Or maybe it's just we just continue to overestimate this team and they're just not there.
Yeah, I think, last year, obviously the Celtics making it to the conference finals, one win away from being against the Golden State Warriors in the championship. So, this year kind of, it feels like a step back. I think last year with Hayward out and Kyrie Irving out later on in the season, a lot of these younger guys, they were forced to step up. And it was kind of, everyone was kind of rooting for each other. There wasn't one star. Everyone was playing. And now that Irving and Hayward and all these guys are kind of fighting for minutes, and those younger guys, with all the time they played last year, they're kind of more established now. And so maybe you're having guys butt heads. I don't know. Just they haven't seemed to gel like the season they had last year. I don't know exactly what they need to do. Maybe they need to trade maybe one piece or two, maybe try to get some assets for the future. But in terms of adding to this team, trading for people, I don't know what you do. I mean, maybe we are overestimating this team. Maybe they're just not as good as we had hoped. You could add another star, but when do you do that? If you're Danny Ainge, what is the window of this team now? Is this the team that's going to be the same going forward or not? A guy like Anthony Davis, we've heard that name being floated out there. I think if there was a superstar, maybe you try to package a couple of these younger guys for somebody like that. But for the most part, in terms of on the court, their game plan, I don't know. They just haven't been playing well. And against the Spurs a couple nights ago, in the first half, they looked okay, but in that third quarter, they fell apart, and San Antonio just brought it to them. And the Spurs, they're okay. They have a couple of stars, but really, the expectations we had for the Celtics, the Spurs should not be able to beat Boston. And at this point, they're 21-15. They're okay. But what are they? I think they're like the 6th seed right now, something 5th seed. We had higher expectations. We were really hoping they were going to be 1 or 2 at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I always thought, okay, give it to Christmas, then they'll right the ship. Well, Christmas has come and gone. They lost to the Rockets. I know the Rockets are a good team. They lost to the Spurs. And like you said, the Spurs aren't a great team, but they're not a terrible team. They're not the Suns or the Knicks. So, a loss, okay, whatever. But if you could see them actually gaining some momentum in these losses, it'd be different. But you've got Terry Rozier. He's not playing well. Jaylen Brown's not playing well. I mean, is it time to trade away someone? Maybe addition by subtraction. Is Rozier part of the problem? He's a restricted free agent, I think, at the end of the year. Maybe get rid of him. Do they package Jaylen Brown in a pick? To get rid of him? I mean, you mentioned Anthony Davis. They probably have to get rid of Brown, Tatum, and a pick or something like that to get Anthony Davis. I'm not saying it's worth it, and they should, but gosh, this team, it looks like this was the team, and now I don't want to give up on them, but it's pretty desperation time now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Danny Ainge is kind of thinking that this team doesn't have a championship window anymore, then maybe you're going to see him selling guys off and try to get some first-round picks, something like that for the future. And like you said, if you're going to get Anthony Davis, that's going to be Brown, Tatum, and probably a first-round draft pick at least, because I really think he's a top 5 player. That would be a huge trade for any team, but it would cost the Celtics a ton. And really, at this point, with Brown and Rozier, how high is their stock right now?
That's true.
But you have to ask yourself, is their stock only going to get lower? Is it going to plummet, right? So it might not be as high as it could be, but during this season, it kind of feels like it's going to either stay the same or get lower. So this might be the best time to try to get a superstar on this team again.
You don't want to sell low and get out for nothing. But you're right, if it goes lower, then you're even in more trouble. Is it, quickly before we go to the break, I mean, is it time to start blaming Brad Stevens? We gave him all the praise in those first 4 years when he was really pumping up this team, and last year doing a great job. With this talent, you got to look at the coach in X's and O's. Maybe he's doing something wrong.
Yeah, I think maybe we're seeing Brad Stevens has a hard time with kind of discipline with these kind of established players. With these younger guys, when he first came up, those guys they just drafted, like Marcus Smart and all those guys, they were, their first-year players. They weren't going to really have a voice. They weren't going to fight for minutes. But now a lot of these guys, they've been in the league for years, and maybe Brad Stevens is having a hard time controlling his team. I think based on, basketball play and the plays he calls, he's one of the best.
Right.
But in terms of actually, the team chemistry, maybe we're seeing a weakness from him finally.
Yeah, I know. It'll be disappointing. We obviously want them to keep it going. They're in the 5th seed, you're right. But right now, I don't know if I would pick them to beat anybody in the East if they would play in the first round of the playoffs. So a lot of season to go, but they got to turn it around in a little bit here, or it's going to be too much, too late. So keep an eye on the Celtics. We'll take a break, come back with one final segment, talk some college football championship, also make our Salt Hill Pub Picks of the Week. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.